A gap is a situation where a stock is trading and all of a sudden there's a difference between the close and the open. This creates a gap, and the idea tonight is to find out why this becomes an important point and a thing that we have to add to our toolbox. Stick around. Usually the way a stock trades, you have buyers and sellers exchanging their bags in different directions, either up or down. And then you get a situation where you get to a point and, well, the seller is not selling to the next one right next to him. No, there becomes a gap, so it's way down. So basically you're in a situation where no one wants it and it falls to a certain line, certain point, and then it continues to trade as if nothing had happened. But this creates a place where, we're talking about bag holders, people exchanging bags. There's nothing. This is the gap we're after. And I will often say this in charts: gap fill, gap to fill, or something like that. Imagine a situation where, same thing here, I'll make the gap smaller. It starts trading like this, and then it goes back up like this, back up. You're on a line, a resistance line, which is this guy, the bag holder, doesn't want to get through, but what if it does get through, right? What if it does? There's no one in between here. So why would this guy be interested in selling other than saying, well, I'm green now? But the idea is to realize that this bag holder, this new bag, is now green, yes, but there's no one to sell to. Nobody wants to sell because we want to get to this level, right? This level will get filled eventually by new buyers, and this is what we're after. When a situation like this presents to ourselves, when you look at charts, you'll see that this gap will tend to get filled. And this is what we saw last week on Nike, and I'll just show you in a second. Now, Nike saw very bad news lately. I'm not going to get into that, but downgrades and in other news, people saying it was too expensive, along with the rest of the market. So it's pulling back. You guys can see this double top, almost perfect rejection there, and then started moving back down after that. But what I want to draw your attention to is, here, see this? There's a gap. There's a gap in between there. There's another one here. This is pretty interesting, right? Let's get rid of this, make this cleaner, right? You see that from here, the bag you didn't find the next buyer. This is where you found the next buyer. And I'll show you something pretty interesting. The gap I was telling you about, this is the gap, right? What happened there? You continue this line. Oh, it did get filled. See? We found buyers all the way to fill the gap, and then it got rejected. But here's another gap, right? You guys all see this? And this is what I was interested in last week, because I'll get to that point later. But if you see this line here, right? I was under the impression as soon as we would start breaking this line, we would move quite higher. And this is what happened on Friday. But before that, this was the old support, right? As soon as we entered, there's a gap there. I mean, this wick here is just I don't know. It's just a wick that was. I believe we probably found one person that bought at the top there, but this candle is. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's just irrelevant for the purpose of this video. What I'm showing you here is, sellers ended up selling to these guys. So there's a big gap in between here. And this is what I was interested in, because we were at the old support, just about to break through. And once we did, we really entered back this gap. And if we did fill it, if we were to fill it, we would enter the second layer, which is the other layer here, where there's almost nothing. You guys see that, right? Now, let me send you on the weekly chart to show you why. And I think I showed you this before, and I'll put the cursor on here. Look at this, right? This is weekly. And I showed you the double top before, where we were at on the 1 hour chart. This is a weekly chart. See this? Rejection. As soon as we moved above it, it became bullish. Now this is 104-ish kind of thing. Very close to that. Let's move back to the 1 hour. Let's move back to the 1 hour. We were very close to that. You guys should agree with this, right? It's the same line. So I was under the impression that we were on support, on that long time support. It used to be a resistance. Now it will act as support. And then we found that we had gaps just above, not far above, just above. So as soon as we would enter this, it would gap up with good potential. Now we took the 108s. 108s were inside the gap, knowing, just like what I said before, who would sell, knowing that there's nobody here. Well, nobody to sell to. You only have buyers. So the idea is that we knew that we would be at expiration, at least in the money, and it just kept on going after that. So what I want to be very specific with here is this. I mean, we had tons of gaps to look at, and this ended up being right on a support line. So risk was minimal, because if you look at the weekly, I mean, you had buyers up to a point, and all these guys exhausted. The sellers decided not to sell anymore as soon as we broke the line. So basically everyone above is an old bag, and the lowest point of these bag holders are now the support. So chances are it would break. And what I said in the watch list, it would at least have a bounce attempt on the old resistance, on the old support. So look for these gaps. I believe we announced the same kind of gap with CMG. Look for these gaps, identify them, see if we're breaking through. Sometimes it can be just a wick through. We don't want that. We want a confirmation. And these gaps, we had so many, the chances were on our side with the bounce on the old support. So I hope you guys are learning something, and I'll see you soon in chat.